Hey Scott, how did you come to work in IP?
I actually did a couple of trademark applications when I was a law clerk. And I was looking for a job and couldn't find jobs back in 1992. And it turns out that my boss that I clerked for had gone to school with the general counsel at Fruit of the Loom. And I got hired at Fruit of the Loom. And when I got there, they found out I had filed a couple of trademarks. And they handed me the trademark portfolio, and I started doing trademarks.
Wow.
Completely by fate.
What drew you to the world of trademarks?
Well, I was an actor before I went to law school, and I'd started acting when I was like 6 years old and acted until I was about 26 years old. So the chance to work with creative people in a creative field, which in trademarks you work with marketing and branding and advertising people, was very appealing to me.
What do you love most about your work?
What do I love most about my work is the fact that I work with some of the most intelligent and fascinating people from all over the world, from different cultures, and I have made such great friends. Through INTA, actually, it has actually been one of the best things that's ever happened in my professional life.
What does your work at Adobe entail?
At Adobe, I just joined Adobe about a year ago, and I have a very different role there. I still do the traditional trademark role, which I've always done in the past at my former jobs. I do brands, I do domains, I do all copyright, I do ICANN policy work, and then I'm Global Advertising and Marketing Counsel. So I do sweepstakes, contests, and promotions as well.
Great. And how did you first get involved in INTA?
I was sent to an INTA meeting in Seattle in 1994. I attended with the General Counsel of Fruit of the Loom, and I have been coming ever since. And I got very involved initially on the editorial board, and then I just liked working with the people and the issues, and I got involved in other committee work. It's been wonderful.
Right. And at what point did you decide to take a leadership role at INTA?
Well, it was actually at this very hotel, the JW Marriott in Phoenix. I was looking for something to do, and I'd been involved in the internet issues, and I came up to the president, who was then Jackie Limer, and I said, what do I need to do to get on the board of directors? And she said, you just need to tell people that you're interested and you'd like to be involved. And I got on the board of directors.
That's great. And when did you decide you wanted to climb the leadership ladder and become the president of INTA?
When I joined Fruit of the Loom, I was in-house counsel, and then I left and I went into private practice for about 13 years. And as a private practitioner, you're not available to be an officer. But in 2007, I joined Yahoo as in-house counsel, and when I did, I told my then boss Laura Covington that I would like to be involved on the leadership ladder. So I talked to the management at Yahoo, and they agreed that it was something that I could do, and I just informed the board of directors it was something I'd want to do, and then I was lucky enough to be nominated as secretary and climb the ladder.
Great. What does it mean to you to be INTA president?
Gosh. It's a lot of responsibility, I think, to be INTA president, and you know that because you watch it for the years that you're an officer at INTA, but as you become president-elect, it sort of begins to rest on your shoulders what a big honor this is to be able to serve your community like this. It makes you nervous because you're not always going to get it right, so you can't be afraid to fail. You have to know that failure is just part of it, and learning from the failures and moving on is the way to go. So I hope that I can work with the staff and Etienne and the rest of the volunteers to represent this organization in the way that it needs to be represented as an ambassador to the world, and highlighting how we can protect consumers.
And what do you plan to focus on during your presidential term?
My year in 2015 is going to focus on leadership and change. I think that INTA since 1994 has grown, and we've gotten to a particular level. But the things that have gotten us to the level that we are now are not the things that are going to perpetuate us as we go forward so that we can become the organization that we all envision and that our strategic plan envisions for us. But I don't think we have been very good at training our leaders, our volunteer leaders, to manage through change. And so I'm hoping that we can focus on envisioning and growing into change. And I hope that we will take every opportunity to give the tools and the skills to our volunteer leaders that will allow them to help us grow this organization and bring it to the next level.
What other projects do you have planned for your presidency?
Well, as many people know, Milan Stark and Etienne populated 3 presidential task forces, and we will be getting those reports in March of 2015. So I would assume that part of my job will be beginning the implementation of whatever recommendations we get out of those task forces. Also, I am going to establish a new task force, a presidential task force on governance, and it's going to be headed by Dave Fleming, who is the counsel for INTA, and we're going to look at our bylaws and we're going to do a thorough governance review for the organization.
Great. If you could accomplish one thing in 2015, what would that be?
Not to fall on my face when I have to give the speech on Sunday night at the opening ceremony. No, actually, seriously, if I could accomplish one thing, it would be to let everyone know that we're a different organization under Etienne's leadership. We're a much more transparent and open organization. We're much more collaborative, and I want that message to be percolated out through the entire membership, that this is a different organization, and we hope that that will excite them and motivate them so that they will help us make this a wonderful, wonderful organization and a fabulous 2015.
Great. And what policy issues do you think that the global trademark community will face in 2015?
Well, I really believe that, and no one's going to be surprised that I said this, that ICANN still is a huge issue for brand owners. And I think the transition of the oversight of ICANN from the U.S. government is going to make that probably one of the bigger issues that we will deal with for maybe 4 or 5 years, as that gets hammered out and we delve into how that's going to be handled. Also, I believe that 3D printing is probably the biggest thing that's happened in our world since the internet. And I think it's going to change how trademark owners think about their jobs and their clients' brands. So what do you do when someone can replicate your brand and your product and they don't put your brand on it? So I would encourage everyone to come in March to the 3D printing seminar that we're holding. I think it's March 10th and 11th in New York, and I would encourage everyone to go because I think that is the biggest cutting edge issue that trademark practitioners have faced since the internet.
And finally, what advice do you have for INTA members that wish to follow your path and climb the leadership ladder?
I think that you need to be genuine and be who you are and know that you are here for a reason and that your perspective matters. I also think you need to know that as a volunteer, I think we heard Mona Lee say yesterday in the Volunteer Service Awards ceremony that it's an honor and a privilege to serve, but you do actually have to serve. You need to do the work. And understanding that everyone has things that happen in their lives that makes being a volunteer problematic, but as long as you're communicating that and you're open and you communicate, we all are human beings, we understand. So commit, understand it's a privilege, be genuine, be honest, be intellectually honest, and I think that you can achieve many, many things. Because remember, most times, the barriers that you think are there are only put there by yourself. You define your own barriers.